everybody, and welcome back to some more Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Skyblock. Last episode, we were working on increasing the speed at which our Applied Energistics 2 auto-crafting system could auto-craft items. And what I've done since the end of last episode is pretty much more of the same. I've taken all of our interfaces. They are all now surrounded with molecular assemblers, apart from this one over here. The reason why this one is not surrounded is because it wasn't full, and it now is full. The reason why it's not surrounded is because until a few minutes ago, it had a few spare slots here at the end, but since then, I've gone ahead and put in some more crafting recipes. So at this point, we can go ahead and grab another molecular assembler, stick it down on the end here, like so, and now all of our ME interfaces are surrounded by molecular assemblers, and all of the molecular assemblers, apart from the one that I've just put down, are full of acceleration cards, and we do have a few more spare here, enough to fill up this one as well with acceleration cards. It was ridiculously expensive to get all of these things filled up with the acceleration cards, but they are now all running as fast as they possibly can, and hopefully going forward, it shouldn't take us anywhere near as long to auto-craft all of our stuff, which is nice. And also, I have gone ahead and upgraded all of the crafting CPUs on the floor here to include 6 crafting co-processing units. And one more thing that I have done since the end of last episode as well is I have moved my soul sand sifting system from this little area here and expanded it out on this side of the room. So now, instead of just having one barrel producing soul sand and then putting it down into the sifter, we now have 7 barrels producing soul sand, which is still not a lot, and I think we are going to have to expand this in the future to be even bigger than this, because we do need a heck of a lot of soul sand for a lot of different stuff. We need it for producing withers, which we're going to work on in today's episode, and we also need a lot of gas tiers if we're going to start looking towards getting any of the creative mode items at any point during the series, because they require all of the Galgadorian stuff, which of course requires a bunch of gas tiers as well. So we are going to have to get quite a bit of soul sand, but you'll notice I've made another cache. I've put some soul sand in the cache, and so now some of the soul sand will go into the auto sieve here and get sieved into either nether quartz, nether wart, or gas tiers, but some of it will go into the reinforced cache. I should really get a storage bus on here so I can access all of the soul sand inside of this cache from within my AE system, but that is something for later on down the line. I've also gone ahead and upgraded the basic cache that we had for nether quartz to a reinforced cache so that it can now hold a lot more than the 10,000 that it could originally hold, because we were kind of in a place where our sieve kept getting backed up on nether quartz. Thankfully, that is all taken care of, and so what I want to work on in today's episode is I want to carry on where we left off before we started working on the Applied Energistics 2 auto-crafting, and that is working on setting up an automatic wither spawner and wither killing system. Now, to do that, we were looking at the grinder from Draconic Evolution. The reason we're looking at the grinder is because, as far as I know, it's the only one of the 2 grinders in the pack, the other one being from MFR. It's the only one of the 2 that can actually kill the wither, and furthermore, it kills it instantaneously, which is pretty great. So, to make this, we're going to need a couple of things. The first thing is a block of draconium, which is probably the easiest thing to make in this whole setup here. For this, we need 9 draconium ingots as well as a wyvern core, which is expensive and does require a nether star, but thankfully we do already have one of those. Next up, we need this mana dust, which is a little bit more tricky to make. For this, you need 1 pulverized mana infused metal inside of the casting table, and then you need to pour primal mana over it. Primal mana is made in the smeltery with liquid XP as well as molten draconium, which we'll get to a little bit later on down the line. We also need a pellet of RTG fuel. Again, we've made this stuff before, so the plutonium and the dense iron plates shouldn't be too hard for us to get, especially with the amount of UU matter that we have right now over by our mass fabricator. And then finally, the hardest part by far is the sword of the wyvern, because to make this, we need 2 more of these wyvern cores, each of which does require a nether star, as well as a wyvern energy core, which also requires a wyvern core, taking us up to 3 nether stars. And then it also requires 2 blocks of draconium, each of which require another wyvern core. And so that takes the total there up to 5 nether stars required in order to make the sword of the wyvern. Outside of that, we also need the etheric sword, which is not too bad, just some unstable ingots which we can get with our division sigil, and of course the emerald ore that we talked about in the beginning of last episode, which we now have, and we can now make super easily using the induction furnace from thermal expansion. So we're going to have to come back to that later, but to start with here, we're going to make all of the items pretty much apart from the sword of the wyvern. So the pellets of RTG fuel should be probably one of the easiest to make. If we come over to our replicator and we select the plutonium, we can go ahead and select single run. We do have to set the tank here to output, like so. That's going to go ahead and move the UU matter into the replicator, and then all we have to do now is wait for the power to go through, and then this should craft up a plutonium for us, and then we much have to leave that running until we have 3 plutonium. Shouldn't take too long. It is going ahead and eating up all the UU matter that it needs right now to do that. So that should be fine. Whilst we're waiting for that, if we're coming back over to our system over here, we should be able to craft up the first of these Wyvern cores. I'm pretty sure we should have almost everything here. What are we missing? We're missing the 4 Draconic cores, as well as 1 Vibrant Alloy. I think we can request all of that stuff. The Vibrant Alloy, we can definitely request, and I'm fairly certain that we also taught our system how to make those Draconic cores. We did. We can go ahead and request 4 of those, like so. Just some diamonds, some gold, and some Draconium. Fairly easy stuff. And then, of course, the block of Draconium is just more Draconium ingots and the Wyvern core. Not too hard whatsoever. Now, the tricky bit about this is the mana dust, which is not that tricky, to be fair, but it's made in a bit of a weird way. It's made in the casting table with the primal mana and the pulverized mana infused metal, both of which in and of themselves are made in a bit of a weird way because not many recipes have liquid XP in them, and the way that you get liquid XP into the smeltery is also a little bit weird. So the way that I'm going to do this, there may be other ways of doing it, but if we grab a tank from open blocks, as well as, do we have a grate in here? We don't. But if you grab a tank from open blocks, as well as an XP drain, I think it's called, from open blocks as well, you can actually drain experience out of your person and into the tank. All we need for this is some iron bars, fairly easy stuff. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a fluiduct to then move the XP out of that tank and into the smeltery. And the way that we do that is via the, the faucet. So if we come on around here and we go to the front of our smeltery, which I now realize is a little bit blocked off. I should probably move this actually, but the way that you do it is via the smeltery drain here. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this off, and if we put down the hardened fluid like that, and then we put down a tank above it like so, I believe what we should be able to do is, if we can get XP into here, let me put down this on top. I'm not quite sure. It's kind of hard to see because it's got like really thin lines on the edge. But if I do this, that's going to go ahead and take the experience out of me and put it into the tank beneath it. Now, if we then go ahead and put down a server on here and set that to extract, that is going to go ahead and pull the experience out of that tank and put it into the smeltery, which is something that I've never done before, but apparently has been something that you can do for quite some time. And so now we have 7,280 millibuckets worth of liquid XP inside of our smeltery. And so now all we have to do is grab some draconium ingots. We will just take a couple of these for now. I'm not quite sure how many we're going to need, but we'll throw 7 in there. It might be 1 per 1,000 millibuckets. And so that's how you make the primal mana. Now, in order to make the mana infused, in order to make the pulverized mana infused metal, this stuff over here, we need to get ourselves some mana infused ore. Now, there are 2 ways to do this. The first, as you can see on screen right now, NEI is telling us that we can get it from the laser drill. We've got a 3.25% chance if we use the laser focus blue, but there is actually another way to get it, and it's a bit of a weird way, but what we can do is, if we take some of this primal mana, which we didn't get actually a whole lot of, I was hoping we'd get quite a bit more than that, but I think we're going to need at least 1 bucket's worth of primal mana. So you know what, let me put in a little bit more draconium here. I'm not going to put too much in, I'm not going to put the full stack in, and that didn't take too long to smelt up, which is nice, but what we need to do is we need to take out a bucket worth of primal mana. So if we come back around to here, I'm fairly certain that we can do this in reverse. If we were to get rid of this and put it down on this side here, I think we can pull the primal mana out of the smeltery and into the tank here. So let's see if we've got 1,000 millibuckets yet. I'm not a huge fan of walking down here. We've got these little glowstone nooks, which I've been using to light up the whole place so we don't have torches just all over the place. But what it does is, if you walk over them, it kind of bumps you up a little bit, and then because we've got hover mode on, we then just kind of float all over the place, which is real weird. I would kind of wish that it didn't do that, but that's getting off topic. For now, we have over 1,000 millibuckets in there, and so if I was to do something like this, set that to ignored, that is going to pull out all of the primal mana that we need. We don't need quite this much of it. We only need 1 bucket's worth, but we can always go ahead and again kind of just reverse the process to put it all back into the smeltery. So we'll take 1 bucket worth, we'll then do something like this and put it back down, and we can get that back into the smeltery like so. And so now that we've got this bucket of primal mana, what we need to do in order to get the mana infused ore is get a silver ore and put it down next to the mana infused ore. So for that, I think we need silver or dust. Let me just check the recipe recipe here for silver ore from thermal expansion or thermal foundation. We need 4 silver ore dust and then 1 stone. We have quite a lot of silver ore dust, and we should have a fair bit of stone in the system as well. We do. And so, if we come over here, hopefully this is going to work for us. It is. That's going to get us some silver ore, and all we have to do now is put down the primal mana bucket and then put down some silver next to the primal mana bucket, and we should get some mana infused ore. Now, the primal mana does cause fire, so we should put this down somewhere where fire isn't going to be an issue. For example, over here where we kind of already have fire. I don't think we have any more of these laboratory blocks around, so I'm just going to grab some cobblestone real quick. It's not going to look the best, but it will work for the time being. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a bit of an area that looks just a little bit like that. And so what we can do here is we can put down the primal mana and we can put down our silver ore. And as soon as the primal mana touches the silver ore, it should become mana infused ore. Nice! So you can see there, just beneath the snow, we have some mana infused ore. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up and then try and get out of there, because I don't know, does this... Oh, it doesn't set me on fire, it just sets the blocks around it on fire. The good news is that it doesn't use up the primal mana, and so what we can do is we can take as much silver ore as we want and turn all of that into the primal mana, and we are going to need quite a bit of primal mana going forward, and so what I might have to do at some point is teach our system how to make silver ore using the induction furnace, and then set up a system that will automatically send the silver ore to maybe an autonomous activator, put it down, and then have something else, maybe another autonomous activator or a block breaker or something like that, to then break the mana ore and send it back into the system so that we can automatically craft this mana infused ore. And then after that, it's fairly easy stuff. All we have to do is put that into the pulverizer. That's going to get us, not the cobblestone, the mana infused dust. That's going to get us the pulverized mana infused dust. And then once we got that, all we have to do is take that back over to the smeltery, and we should be good to go. So let me grab the mana infused metal, and now if we put it back down on the casting table here, if we get rid of this, we shouldn't need it just yet, and we put down this stuff here with, again, just a normal faucet on the bottom, like so. Let me do a quick check to make sure that the primal mana is at the bottom of the smeltery, because it might not be now. It is not. We want to make sure the primal mana is at the bottom. Once we've got the primal mana there, we can go ahead and just right-click on the faucet. That is going to pour the primal mana over the mana-infused dust, and then once that's done, we get ourselves the mana dust. Nice. So, that is the fairly convoluted way that you get mana dust in this mod pack, and we are going to need a flipping heck of a lot of this stuff, because you'll see here, pretty much all of the draconic items need mana dust in some form or another, so we are going to need quite a lot of that stuff, but for now, let me do a quick check here. Have we got some plutonium? I don't want to make two. Do I have to take it out? I didn't want to have to take it out. How is our... Yeah, okay, good stuff. We've still got a full radiation suit, and I can't fly with the radiation suit on, which is the real pain, but we do have our staff of traveling, so we can get down here fairly easily. Let us grab the plutonium. Can I only make one at a time? Oh, I didn't click, I clicked single run, didn't I? Let me put a repeat run on. I don't want to use up all of my UU matter here. We've got a lot of it. We've got 21,000 millibuckets in the tank there, and then a further 16,000 millibuckets in here, and it only takes 291 millibuckets to make one piece of plutonium, but I don't want to kind of just forget this so that it makes a stack of plutonium, because although we could use that, I would like to be able to make more UU matter going forward, and that kind of takes me to where I want to go next, because before we can make the Sword of the Wyvern, we are, of course, going to have to fight at least 5 more withers in order to get the 5 extra nether stars that we need in order to make the Sword of the Wyvern alone. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like, first of all, our radiation suit, but also, I think the other set of armor that we were just wearing was a flux-infused jet plate and then some goggles of revealing. I don't think that those are going to do that well when it comes to fighting the wither, and so I took a little look at what we need for the Wyvern armor. Now, of course, to make the Wyvern armor, we are going to need a bunch of nether stars anyway, but in order to make all of the Wyvern armor pieces, you also need the respective quantum suit armor pieces, and so I figured that we might as well make the quantum suit helmet, the body plate, the leggings, and the boots, use those to fight the wither, and then reuse those armor pieces in the making of the Wyvern versions later on down the line. And I was looking at the recipe for these, and they're actually fairly easy to do. Each piece requires a Lapitron crystal, which we have taught our system how to make, so we can just request Lapitron crystals, and they're good. And let me type in quantum suit here, so I don't have to keep looking at the Wyvern version in order to make it. But for example, looking at the chest plate, we need some nanosuit body armor, which is just some carbon plates, which again we can request, as well as an energy crystal, which again, we have taught our system how to make. So most of the stuff in here is stuff that we've already taught our system to make. Basic machine casing, iridium plates. I don't think we've taught them how to make this, but we've definitely taught them how to make advanced alloys. We already have diamonds, and we can make iridium ore using the replicator. And so what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to go away real quick. I'm going to wait until the replicator has gotten me 3... We've got 2 here, but I'm going to wait until we have 3 plutonium, so we have enough to make the pellet of RTG fuel. I'm then going to go ahead and make as much iridium as we need to make all of the iridium reinforced plates, to make all the quantum suit armor, and I will probably also go ahead and request all of the items that we need from our system to make all of the quantum suit armor, and I'll be back in a second to craft all of this stuff up. And a lot of industrial craft 2 grinding later, and I think we now have everything it takes to make the full sets of quantum suit body armor. So, if we go on over to our replicator, which has been working non-stop, it has now got 41 iridium. I'm going to stop that because I don't want it to make... Again, I don't want it to burn through all of my Yuya matter. We've now only got 15,000 left in the tank here, as well as another 16,000 in the actual replicator, which is still a lot. We've still got enough to make like a bunch more iridium and a bunch more plutonium if we need it. But let us head on back over to our AE system, and we should have everything else as well. So I haven't actually made the nano suit setup yet, but I'm pretty sure we've got everything we need. I did request a bunch of carbon plates and 4 of those energy crystals, so we can make ourselves the boots, we can make the leggings, we can make the chest plate, and then finally the helmet, which was a pain in the backside because unlike the other pieces of armor, which just require carbon plates and an energy crystal, the helmet also requires the night vision goggles, which are just horrifying. Look at this. We need advanced heat exchangers, we need lapis plates, we need heat exchangers, it was a pain, but it is all done, and we can now go ahead and also craft up the helmet, he says. Oh no, I don't think I've actually made the night vision goggles yet. I think I need to make the battery, like so, and then once we got the battery, we can make the actual night vision goggles themselves, and then once we got that, we should be able to make the helmet. There we go, good stuff. And so now, it should simply be a case of crafting up all 10 of the iridium plates, which we should be able to do fairly easily as well. And we might even have a little bit extra iridium. We do. And once we've got all of those, we can go ahead and craft all the stuff together to get ourselves the quantum boots, the quantum leggings. For some reason, certain items haven't been going in. Like, for example, the glowstone there didn't want to go in. I'm not quite sure why. We can also make the chest plate, which again, fairly easy stuff. And then finally, we can make the quantum suit helmet. Like so. Do we have that circuit? We don't. We can go ahead and request one more advanced circuit. That might take a few seconds here because the intricate circuit boards do take a couple of seconds, but it shouldn't take too long. That should be the slowest part of it. I'm not quite sure if there's a way for us to speed these up, but they are like painfully slow. If we look at this right now, it's real slow. I guess the only real way that we could kind of circumvent this would be to just kind of batch make them, like have 100 or 200 on standby in case we need to craft with them, and then have that just kind of make them constantly, have it constantly making them and filling it up until we have, say, 250 of them just ready to go. And so I might look into that at some point, but for now, is this done? It's not quite. We're waiting on one. There we go, it's done. Okay, you see how fast it crafted up the rest of the stuff there once the actual circuit was done. That is our new system downstairs doing its work. But there we go, we now have a full set of quantum suit helmets, but we do now have to actually charge these up because as of right now, I don't even know if we've got a bat box lying around anymore because all of our power is going in through these MV wire connectors from Immersive Engineering to all of our Industrial Craft 2 machines. And so I don't think we have currently anywhere to charge this. And so it might be a good idea for us to make an MFE or maybe even an MFSU to kind of fix that problem. The MFE is super easy to make. It can input and output 512 EU per tick. These things can hold 10 million EU, which is a lot of EU, but I think the MFE might be able to handle that. So we need 4 more of those energy crystals. Real easy stuff. It's just some diamonds and some redstone, as well as 1 more basic machine casing, which I think we already have. We do, as well as 4 more insulated golden cable. Let me have a look here. Insulated golden cable. We don't have the recipe, which is real freaking annoying, but we do already have golden cable, and we should have some rubber either in the system or in the extractor. We don't have any in the extractor, but we do still have some in the system, which is good. So let's go ahead and craft up 4 of those. Those crystals should almost be done. They are. We've got 2 more left to go. Those shouldn't take too long whatsoever. And that's going to get us the MFE. I'm not quite sure we're going to hook that up yet. Do we have any more MV or even HV? Yeah, we should probably use like a HV wire connector to connect this to our capacitor bank to make sure it can input and output the fastest it can possibly do. We're waiting on 1 more crystal, which is now done. We can go ahead and take this. And so now, if we were to put this down, I guess for now, just like right about there. I can't put it there because of the glowstone nook again in the corner. If I go ahead and put it down like right there, we should be able to do something like this, connect those up like so. You're too far away from a previous connection. Oh yeah, there we go, okay. And then once that's done, this should start to fill up with power. I might have to set this to output, like that. No? Is this on the wrong side? Hold on, let me try that, maybe? There we go. Okay, so the MFE is now filling up on power. And so now all we have to do is put the quantum armor into the MFE like so. I thought that would work, but I guess maybe not. Can I not charge from in here? We might need an MFSU just because of how much power these require. Can they not be charged? They might not be able to be charged in here. That is real freaking annoying. What do we need for the MFSU? For this thing, we need 6 Lapotron crystals, an MFE, an advanced machine casing, and an advanced circuit. All right, guys, I'm going to go away real quick. I'm going to make an MFSU, and I'll be back in a second. And again, not too long later, moment of truth, we now have our MFSU. The question is, can we charge up our stuff in the MFSU? I'm fairly certain that we should be able to do it in here. So, if we again do something like this, that should start to fill up in here. It does, and so now we should be able to put our armor in here, and it will begin to charge up, which is fantastic. The Quantum Suit body armor does have a jetpack built into it, a slightly better one than the Industrial Craft 2 jetpack that we were using early on in the series, and so it shouldn't be too big of a deal for us to take off our flux-infused jet plate and our goggles of revealing for the time being. As soon as we fought the Withers, we'll probably put the goggles of revealing obviously don't matter, but we'll probably put the flux-infused jet plate back on just because it's probably a bit better than what we're going to have with the Quantum Suit armor. But then as soon as we move on to the Wyvern armor, which also has creative mode flight, we can just give up on the flux-infused jet plate altogether, hopefully. We will see. So this is filling up with power very, very slowly. I don't think we can charge it from in here. We can't. It is filling up, but just very slowly. So it's filling up extremely slowly. And so while that fills up, actually, I guess we could... Yeah, we could probably do something like this, and then do this to get it going a bit faster. Yeah, that should be charging up faster. We should be able to pull out twice as fast now. I think each one of these can do, 4,096 redstone flux per tick. So it should be pulling out like 8,000 redstone flux now to put into here, which I think is about 2,000 EU per tick, which is actually the maximum amount that the MFSU can input and output. As you can see here, the number's not going up and down because it's outputting the exact same amount as it's inputting, and so the amount that's inside there is staying exactly the same. And so whilst we wait for that to charge up, which is actually going much, much faster now, we're almost at 3 million out of 10 million, we should probably make a sword, for one thing. I did look at what swords we could make fairly easily, because although we have a rapier in our inventory, it only does 5 attack damage, and we can't really upgrade it too much because we only have 1 available modifiers, and the modifiers that add modifiers don't work in the mod pack. And so I've decided, for the time being, we're going to go with the Flux-infused sword, mostly because it was one of the easiest ones that we could make, and it's not that bad. It does 8 attack damage when fully charged up, and I think plus 1 flux damage, so like 9 damage, which is not a ton, but should hopefully be enough to get us through a couple of Wither fights. And so... really, we've got to wait for this stuff to charge up now, and I think while we do that, what I'm probably going to do is go away and make a bunch of the reinforced obsidian from Endryo, this stuff over here, which is witherproof, because the way that we're going to set this up, the way we're going to set up our wither killer, is the wither is going to spawn. We're going to have some block places that place down all the soul sand and all of the wither skeleton skulls. The wither is then going to drop down so that when it explodes, it doesn't blow up those block places, so it's going to drop down into an area that's encased in reinforced obsidian, because the reinforced obsidian is witherproof. So when the wither explodes, it will not destroy the reinforced obsidian, and then the grinder will kill it. The grinder will be behind a wall because it can go through the reinforced obsidian to kill the wither, and then we'll probably have like a vacuum chest or something that will then pick up all of the stuff that the wither drops. But in order to make that, we need to have a chamber built out of reinforced obsidian, which is fairly expensive. To make this, we need 4 crushed obsidian, which I did start to look at. By the way, this is to make 4 reinforced obsidian, but for every piece of reinforced obsidian, we need 4 crushed obsidian, 4 reinforced stone, and then 1 reinforced metal. The crushed obsidian, real easy stuff. I requested 200 crushed obsidian before the episode started, and so that should either be done yeah, there's no crafting jobs active, so it should be all in here without having crushed. Yeah, we got, I requested 500 crushed obsidian, so we've got a ton of crushed obsidian in the system now. The reinforced metal, you'll have noticed at the beginning of the episode, I was teaching our system how to make this. It's pretty expensive, some iron, some obsidian, some diamonds, pretty expensive stuff, but we have taught our system how to make it, and so now if I was to, for example, request like maybe 63 of those, get just under a stack ready, because we've already got one in the system, we can go ahead and click start, and that should craft all of those up fairly quickly here, because, yeah, look how fast it did that with the new system. So now all we're doing is waiting on the smelting, which is taking place in our redstone furnace over there, and then once all those are smelted, we can go ahead and make 4 stacks of reinforced obsidian. All we need to get now is the reinforced stone, which we have made before. For reinforced stone, all you need to do is get some iron scaffolding, which I don't think our system knows how to make, and I also don't know if we have what it takes to make it, although I did teach our system how to make iron fences, and so if we request like 30 of those, it might take a little while to make them all, but we get some iron scaffolding. We need to get our CF sprayer, this guy over here, as well as some construction foam. Is it this stuff here? Yeah, CF powder, and there are a few ways you can do this. The way that we're going to do it is, again, I don't know why the clay didn't shift click in there. That's real weird. Certain items just not liking it now. I'm not quite sure. But we'll take the construction foam, and all we have to do is right click with the CF powder onto some water. That will turn into construction foam. And then once we've got the construction foam, we can right click on that with the CF sprayer to take it from the floor into the CF sprayer. And then after that, we can use that on the iron scaffolding. Really, we don't have those fences yet? We do. We got 5. Again, why? The system, I might need to restart my game. The system does not like putting certain stuff in. I'm not quite sure why, but we've got 32 of these. We can also do with some sand, because sand allows us to kind of instantly dry the scaffolding once it's got the construction foam on it. So, first of all, let me eat some apple juice, because we are getting pretty hungry here. And then the chest plate is probably done. It is. So let's go ahead and take that out of there and put in like the helmet for the time being. And now, if we head on over to the laser area, and we come on over to, for example, this guy. Actually, do we have a better water source? I don't think we do. We should really get a water source that's not used for automation somewhere, but essentially, if we right-click on the water with the CF powder, it becomes the CF foam. We can then right-click with the sprayer. That's going to fill up 1,000 millibuckets of construction foam in the CF sprayer, and then all we have to do is right-click with that onto the scaffolding, and that uses 100 millibuckets for every piece of iron scaffolding that you have. And so if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and do this, that's going to go ahead and turn all of those into these reinforced construction foam blocks, and then if we right-click on those with sand, it's going to go ahead and turn them into reinforced stone. You can also just leave them, and over time they will turn into reinforced stone, but if you want things a little bit quicker, you can do it with sand. And so guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away, I'm going to make sure that all of my quantum suit body armor is fully charged up using the MFSU. I'm going to go away and get as much of this reinforced stone as I can, so I can make as much of the reinforced obsidian as I can, and I'll be back in a second. Also, a quick tip, I recommend using something like a block breaker for this, because it takes forever to break this stuff with a pickaxe. And so, if you get a block breaker, which by the way is super cheap to make, it's just some stone, redstone, iron, and a diamond pickaxe, you can go ahead and just break this thing instantly, and it's just a lot faster than trying to do it with a pickaxe. And again, not too long later, we now have a fully charged set of quantum suit body armor, as well as a stack of reinforced stone. So we can go ahead and make quite a bit of this reinforced stone here. We can make well over a stack of it. We can probably make 3 or 4 stacks actually in total now, but what I'm going to do right now, we need to fight, I think, 5 withers in order to get all of the stuff that we need to make the grinder from Draconic Evolution. Because to make the sword, we've got everything else that we need to make all of the rest of the stuff. But to make the sword of the wyvern, we need 1 for each course. That's 2 there, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we need to fight 5 more withers in order to be able to make the sword of the wyvern. And so we're going to have to grab ourselves some soul sand, which we should now have in abundance thanks to this thing over here. And I was wrong, by the way, with the quantum suit armor. I thought it did give you the jetpack ability from Industrial Craft, but apparently that is not the case. Even though the body armor does require a jetpack to make, apparently that ability just doesn't carry over for whatever reason. But let's grab those. Let's also head on over to the blood magic area, and again, just kind of, ooh, yeah, that's why these are a pain, ooh, but that's why these are a godsend. Let me try that one more time. Actually, I've got my, hold on, whilst we set up here, let me just use this thing. Let's grab a couple of these as well. And so, what I'm going to do here, guys, I think, because we can't fly with the quantum plate, I think I'm just going to set up a bit of, like, a kill box for this thing. If we do something like this, we make it like 5 by 5. Maybe 5 by 4 by 5. Here we go. We do something like this. We can build a bit of a box that we can then keep the wither in just to make sure it doesn't fly away too much whilst we're trying to attack it. If we do something... Oh, this doesn't quite go all the way around. That's fine. We can do something like that. Get a bit more wither-proof reinforced obsidian. We can always go ahead and take that down and move it somewhere else between episodes, which I definitely will because I do not want my wither killer to be there. And we're out of reinforced stone? Really? Really? I didn't think we would be out of this whatsoever. That is a pain. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go away again real quick. I'm gonna get some more of the reinforced stone, and again, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so not too long later, this does look absolutely hideous, but we've now got enough reinforced stone to actually completely encase this. So, if we go ahead and do something like that, the wither's gonna spawn. I'm gonna step outside real quick. I don't know how well we will be able to keep up inside. Let me press V there to empower my sword, and as soon as that blows up, we should be able to just head inside and kill this guy. Again, the sword's not the best in the world. Could definitely be a lot better. And this guy is really freaking loud, but we should not really... Yeah, the armor is definitely more than good enough to kill this mother trucking son of a gun. And there we go. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna do that 4 more times. I'll be back in a second. And a couple of wither fights later, we now have the 5 more nether stars that we need in order to craft up the grinder. And so, I think we should be able to do all of this now. I went ahead and requested some dense iron plates, so we should have what it takes to make the RTG fuel, and we do. We got the core here earlier for the block of draconium, so we can go ahead and... Oh no, we didn't actually make it, did we? Because we needed to get more vibrant alloy. So I did request a vibrant alloy, and we can now go ahead and make one of those. And actually, we are going to need a couple more of these. I think that's all 6 of them that we're going to need, I think. But we'll go ahead and make one of those. We should then now have everything apart from the withering sword, and we do. And now for this, we should have everything apart from... we do need 2 more blocks of draconium, which is easy stuff. 1, 2, there we go. And so now, I thought all we were missing is we should have, yeah, we've got all the mana dust. All we're missing is the sword, the etheric sword, and the wyvern energy core. The wyvern energy core is made using the casting table and I think 7,200 millibuckets worth of destabilized redstone. So let me grab one of these as well as quite a bit of redstone. I'm not quite sure how much you get per piece of redstone for this. Let me do a quick check here. How much do we get? One gets us 100 millibuckets in the magma crucible. Is that the same? I assume that's the same in the smeltery. So it might take us a stack and a bit to actually get this done. And also, we should put this back on so we can fly again. We might have to put more than a stack of redstone into the smeltery, which might take a little bit of time. I'm not quite sure what the capacity of our smeltery is like. But if we do that, then it's going to go ahead and smelt all that down. That might take a little bit of time there. But whilst we're waiting for that, we can also go ahead and make ourselves the etheric sword, which is just some unstable ingots and some obsidian. We can't make the unstable ingots in our normal crafting interface here. So let me quickly get rid of some of this stuff that we don't necessarily need and do a bit of a clear up on my inventory. There we go. And so now, let us grab our activated division sigil. Let's grab some diamonds and some iron. And we should be able to make the sword actually fairly easily. We do want to make sure that we have at least 1 obsidian in our inventory so we can actually do it. And do we have a normal crafting table in here? We do. We've got a ton of them from the last episode. And so, if we do something like this, and this, that's going to get us the ingots. We need 2 of those. And then if we get rid of this, put the obsidian in the bottom. Please don't explode. They shouldn't explode. And kapow, we get ourselves the etheric sword. Nice. How long is left on our redstone? If there's a long time left, I might have to cut away here whilst we wait for it to finish. The redstone is not smelting. Okay, in that case, I think what we might have to do is one of 2 things. We might have to either put actually make the destabilized redstone. Oh, they didn't come out. Either make the destabilized redstone in the magma crucible and then put it into a tank and then pump it in like we did before. But you might also be able to put a casting basin next to, or a casting table next to a magma crucible already and pull out there. Let me try this real quick, because I know there are mods that add that functionality in. I'm not quite sure if we have those mods installed. Do we have any spare seared brick? We do. Okay, let me quickly make another casting table and another faucet, and I want to try this on the magma crucible. It works. It totally works. Okay, so all we have to do now, I guess, is wait till we've got at least 7,200 millibuckets worth of destabilized redstone inside of our magma crucible. We should really upgrade this to be faster with some more augmentations, and actually just upgrade it to a higher tier. Right now, we've got a basic magma crucible. We should make it resonant like our redstone furnace here, so it can go a lot faster. But for now, I guess we have to go away, wait until we got enough redstone, and that should get us the last piece of the puzzle, that being the Wyvern Energy Core. And there we go, we get ourselves a Wyvern Energy Core, and so now, if we head on back over to our crafting terminal, we should finally be able to craft all of this stuff together to get ourselves the sword, like so, and then use the sword in conjunction with all of the other stuff to get ourselves the mob grinder. Flipping heck, that took a heck of a lot longer than I thought it would take, but we have it now, guys, and what I'm going to do is next episode we'll come back and we'll set this up, because for now, I'm going to end this episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Skyblock there. As always, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit like, it really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, and we'll be back on Friday for another episode where we'll set up the automatic Wither Killer, and hopefully start to get a decent amount of automated nether stars, which will allow us to delve a little bit further into some more draconic evolution.